So I didn't post a video last week. There was way too much going on. I almost didn't post a video this week because I am definitely not free from life stuff, but I decided to lock in so I can at least have a video posted. But I think until my finals are officially over, my schedule might look a bit whack. Expect easier videos. This one wasn't an easier video, but I felt like I should do something more. So here we are. It's been a while since I've attempted to make a comic. With good reason though. Those things always take up so much time, even if I cut a few corners. This one was no exception. Admittedly, it's simpler than some of the other comics I've made for practice, but this still took me a lot of time. Pair that with having all of my life stuff and it's easy to see why it was so hard for me to work on. Now, I'm sure if people watch some of my other videos, they'll know I created 2 new characters. I can't just create characters and not use them in some way, so I had the bright idea to make a practice comic featuring them. I'm not used to drawing them yet, so it was tough. Their features do look inconsistent through the panels, but that tends to happen when I haven't mastered their faces yet. Let's just say it takes me quite a few attempts to get used to drawing everyone's features. I mean, for Jihoon and Youngsing, it took years for me to eventually get them right, even after their initial creation, so yeah. So the idea for this practice comic is Mayron is practicing for his appearance on a survival show and Function is sort of evaluating him. It is part of the plot I have going on for these two. I wrote out a specific scene for it. I didn't translate the entire thing to a practice comic though, since it would end up being really long. This is only a very small portion of the whole scene. I wanted to try and keep it under 3 pages, but we went a bit over. And this is after I tried to cut corners too. A lot of the time, a comic ends up longer than I think because you have to express a decent amount in the panels. Sometimes you have to draw a few transitions, if that's even the right word. In writing, I can have long-winded dialogue, but in the comic, I have to break up some parts of the dialogue. I learned that you don't want to just throw in a word wall into a panel, so yeah. Now, the scene takes place inside of some room, but it's very plain. I probably could have added more to the room, but I just didn't. At the very least, it made my job so much easier when drawing. There were still no excuses for how long some parts took though. The clean sketches took way too long. A lot of it was due to distraction. Are we surprised though? I think especially in the line art stage, I got distracted by other things. I definitely had a hard time drawing certain things in this comic, side views being one of them. But later, there's a part where Function is behind Mayron holding his arms up and being really close. Except I don't know how to properly draw that. That's on the 3rd page. I did something. Now, paneling and just arranging the composition still proved challenging for me. I tried to have somewhat interesting panels, but I found myself just being a bit basic with the arrangement in the end. There was also the fact I didn't want this to stretch on for too many pages, so I tried to squeeze the usual 6 panels in the page. However, I find that the less panels you have on a page, the more interesting arrangements you can do because there's more space to work with. One of the pages in this has only 3 panels, but I didn't do much with it anyways, partially because I wanted a big shot of the pose. That I could have totally done better, but anyways. You may have noticed Mayron has a different hairstyle than what I put in his reference sheet. And if you've never seen his reference sheet, I'll do you guys a favor and throw it up on the screen. As you can see, I designed Mayron with a side part in mind. But in this scene, since he's meant to be more relaxed, I opted for giving him this sort of flat hairstyle. The Youngsing hairstyle because that's exactly what it looks like. He's also wearing a t-shirt which made my life easier when it came to drawing this. They're just in Function's condo he's renting out, so it doesn't make sense if they're all dressed up. Function himself, I kept his hair the same here. He probably would kind of do his hair anyways, just little details like that. I will say, looking at the clean sketch of this, I have no idea why I initially drew Mayron's hands to be so big. I fixed it later in the line art though, but that was silly. It's giving yaoi hands. Alright, so I talked about earlier how I was struggling with drawing consistent features for Mayron and Function. I think the main problem is the eyes, especially Mayron's. Holy hell. They're sort of cat-like. Reminds me of how I draw Hye's eyes, but there's a slight roundness to them, if it makes sense. I'm used to drawing Hye though, so when I draw Mayron's eyes, they end up looking like Hye's to me. Throws me off a bit, but like I said earlier, I just need to get used to drawing his features properly. I draw it once perfectly on the reference sheet and then never again. I swear. At the very least, he has other features that kind of distinguish him from my other muses. But I just know he's going to still be a problem child for me to draw for a while. Maybe the next drawing should feature him or something, so I'm forced to draw him properly. I'm kidding. I don't know what my next drawings will end up being. Nowadays, I mostly draw for YouTube, so it's never really what I feel like drawing. Let's just say my free time is limited, so I seriously have to pick and choose what I spend my time on. Oh well. I don't think I have too much else to talk about in terms of my process here. It is simple, so what else could I really say? So instead, I think I might just talk about the things I kind of want to do on this channel but can't if I want to maintain a weekly upload schedule. You thought I was going to lore dump? Think again. Also, because I already lore dumped on these two in my video where I designed them, which you guys should totally watch if you haven't. Anyways, I actually have the most fun doing larger, more complicated projects, but it's hard to complete them in a week. You pair that with being a full-time student and it's just yikes. Last year, I somehow had enough time to make a much bigger practice comic with like maybe over 20 pages, give or take. That took months though. I was working on it slowly in the background on top of my other videos. I definitely want to do something like that again, but I don't think people would want to wait months for me. Another idea I recently had was making a visual novel type game and recording that process. I thought of this plot in my head that might be interesting as a visual novel, but I think that's something that's going to take at least a month minimum, maybe more. I swear, all I think of is just time-consuming ideas that I definitely don't have time to do in a week. But to my few viewers who are willing to wait for those types of videos, do you guys prefer that more? I'd definitely like to know. I felt like I needed to at least post weekly so I can grow, but I do also want to create good content, so yeah. Okay, this like half turned into a let's be real for a second moment. Oops. Anyways, originally this video was going to be a lot longer, but let's just say there's only so much I can yap about. I feel bad, really. But I think once I'm free from this life stuff, this will all come much easier. Yeah, I really have been knocked out by some of this life stuff. I might just take it easy or something. Also, I'm editing this late at night as I always do, and yeah, I'm like half functional, but it's okay. We just vibe, I guess. I think I'll just end the speed paint here and show you guys the final pages. This is definitely up for a redraw in 2026 or some future year, so if the me from the future is watching this, hi, please do better, thank you. Here are the final pages. I'll have the pages posted on my socials so you guys can read them properly. That should be it for this video. Hopefully you guys still enjoyed it, even if this is a bit scuffed. I don't know if I'll be able to post something next week, but I'll see what I can cook up. Anyways, I hope I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!